Disappointment haunted all my dreams. And then I saw her face. I'm a believer, and not a trace.
Welcome to this presentation for the subject Sociocultural and Literary Studies 1 from Universidad de La Matanza, which is supported by Hernán Piperno and Marina Martina.
This group is composed by my dear colleagues Cecilia Otero, Paula Scalzi, and well, me, Lourdes Barnachea. We are going to analyze Shrek 2 from two different perspectives. For that reason, this presentation will be divided into two parts. In the first part, we are going to focus on structuralism, and in the second part, we are going to deal with post-structuralism. Structuralism has been defined as a process of moving from the particular to the general, placing the individual work within a wider structural context. One of the most well-known critics was Roland Barthes, who concentrated on the analysis of narratives, so he developed 5 codes to do so. These are the proetic, the hermeneutic, the cultural, the semic, and the symbolic codes. But we are going to focus on the last 3 codes.
The cultural code or historical background. Shrek 2 is set in medieval times in the kingdom of Far, Far Away. Its structures are similar to medieval Renaissance architecture styles, since most houses and structures resemble castles and fortresses. It also features the palace where the ruling king and queen reside. The kingdom mostly appears as the residence and home of many fairy tale creatures and princesses that live happily ever after in luxury. Fairy tale's purpose was to teach a moral, that is a lesson about how to live life, how and who to love, how to treat others, and how the world works. Moreover, they also contain 3 sets of characters: the hero, the society, and the villains. Throughout the movie, some major themes are hinted at. To contextualize them, here is a list of what's going on at the time the film was released. Regarding LGBT rights, same-sex marriage was legally recognized in the U.S. state of Massachusetts on May 17, 2004. Concerning segregation, even in 2000, 3 metro areas indices exceeded 80. About feminism, one project of the second wave was to create positive images of women, to act as the counterweight to the dominant images circulating in popular culture, and to raise women's consciousness of their oppressions.
Making reference to the semicode, this is linked with the process of characterization and thematization of a text by the use of hints and or flickers of meaning. Shrek 2 deals with plenty of themes that involve historical background, relationships, power, and magic, among others. But I decided just to focus on 3 of them. Connected with the historical time that Ceci mentioned before, there are different words related to the medieval time, as we can see in this scene in which King Harold makes a comment about it.
Hello, Harold. What happened?
Nothing, Joe, just the old punching wound playing up a bit. I'll just stretch it out here for a while.
Since Shrek is a fairy tale, okay, there is vocabulary also connected with this. We can see them right at the beginning of the film.
Once upon a time, in a kingdom far, far away, the king and queen were blessed with a beautiful baby girl. And throughout the land, everyone was happy. Until the sun went down, and they saw that their daughter was cursed with a frightful enchantment that took hold each and every night. Desperate, they sought the help of a fairy godmother, who had them lock the young princess away in a tower, there to await the kiss of the handsome Prince Charming.
And last but not least, Shrek deals with self-appearance and how important this was for that society.
Oh! A cute button nose, thick wavy locks, taut round buttocks. I'm
Gorgeous. I'll say. I'm Jill. What's your name?
Shrek.
Shrek? Wow. Are you from Europe?
You're
You're so tense. I want to rub his shoulders. I got it covered. Thanks. I don't have anything to rub. Well, get in line.
Have you ladies seen my donkey?
Who are you calling donkey?
Donkey? You're a...
A stallion, baby! I can win it! I can count! Look at me, Shrek! I'm trotting!
In this part of the film, Shrek decides to drink a potion in order to turn into a human, so as to fit within the cultural stereotypes. And of course, Donkey enjoys it a lot.
Regarding the symbolic code, this one has to do with contrast and pairing related to the most basic binary polarities. In this film, even though there are plenty of binary positions to be illustrated, the main focus is held on three dualities. The first one is related to content as regards the intended target audience, in this case, children versus adults. So let's see the first example. Well, as you can see, this content is for children because it is connected with flirt jokes, animated characters, and cute animals. However, there are some hidden messages in this film that are for adults, like in this scene.
Fiona and I are married now. We need a little time, to be together. Just with each other. Alone. You'll be fine. Now, where were we? Oh, I think I remember. Okay.
Well, in this scene, the content has to do with sarcasm and sexual activity. A second binary position can be connected with culture stereotypes regarding two main themes. Beauty versus ugliness, and happiness versus unhappiness. So let's pay attention to the following scene.
Happily ever after potion. Midnight. Fiona, is this what you want? To be this way forever.
What?
Because if you kiss me now, we can stay like this.
You do that? For me?
Yes.
I want what any princess wants. To live happily ever after. With the ogre I married.
Well, as you can see, ugliness makes reference to ogres, while beauty refers to human beings. But this binary position goes hand in hand with this idea of happiness and unhappiness, because this happy ending leads us to conclude that there is no need to be beautiful in order to be happy. The last binary position has a connection with the strong and feeble characters, in this case, Fairy Godmother and King Harold.
Have Fiona drink this and she'll fall in love with the first man she kisses, which will be charming. What did you say?
I can't. I wasn't certain.
Oh, yes, you were. If you remember, I helped you with your happily ever after, and I can take it away just as easily. Is that what you want? Is it?
No.
Good boy.
It is clear that Fairy Godmother is the strongest, the most powerful, the oppressor, while King Harold is the less powerful, the weakest, and the oppressed.
However, there is a change of paradigm.
So, following the structuralist approach, post-structuralism came to disentangle or dismantle the sources of textual power by means of the deconstructive process. Peter Barry mentions 3 stages that enable the reader the possibility to unmask internal contradictions or inconsistencies in the text. These are the verbal, textual, and linguistic stages.
Verbal stage involves looking for paradoxes or contradictions. So let's have a look at this example that is connected with the binary positions that I mentioned before.
I'm afraid Fiona isn't really warming up to Prince Charming. FYI, not my fault.
No, of course it's not, dear.
I mean, how charming can I be when I have to pretend I'm that dreadful ogre?
Well, the contradiction is clear. Prince Charming, the most beautiful man in the kingdom, is acting as if he were Shrek, the ogre, just to make Fiona fall in love with him. Another facet of this stage is that there is a tendency to reverse the polarity of the binary position. So the following scene is a clear example of this.
She was supposed to choose the prince. We picked out for her. I mean, you expect me to give my blessings to this thing? I hope you've never seen her. You are hard time. I only wanted what was best for you. But I can see now. She already has it. Shrek, Fiona. Accept an old frog's apologies and my blessing.
Here it can be said that King Harold changes his way of thinking because instead of giving his blessing to Prince Charming, he gave it to the ogre, the one who used to hate.
The textual stage goes beyond individual phrases as opposed to the semicolon from the structuralist point of view. This is actually where shifts or breaks in the text are looked for, which reveal instabilities of attitude and hence the lack of a fixed and unified position. Let's see this scene.
After I endured blistering winds, scorching desert,
I climbed to the highest room in the tallest tower.
Mummy can handle this. He endures blistering winds and scorching desert. He climbs to the highest bloody room of the tallest bloody tower. And what does he find? Some gender-confused wolf telling him that his princess is already married.
As we can see in this scene, the fairy godmother makes emphasis on what happens to her son when he goes to rescue his princess by means of using the exact same words but shifting pronouns. Let's see one more scene in which shifts of tones can be found.
We have to go. I need to do Charming's hair before the ball. He's hopeless. You know, he's all high in the front. He can never get to the back. You always need someone to do the back of your hair.
Oh, thank you, Mother.
Mother!
Well, Donkey or the Stallion is shocked to find out that Prince Charming is actually the fairy godmother's son. So that's why he makes a different intonation from enchanting in the word mother.
The linguistic stage involves implicit or explicit reference to the unreliability of language, such as saying that something is unsayable or saying that something is impossible to utter, and then doing so.
So, Fiona, tell us about where you live.
Well, Shrek owns his own land. Don't you, honey?
Oh, yes. It's in an enchanted forest, abundant in squirrels and cute little duckies and...
What? I know you ain't talking about the swamp.
Donkey, an ogre from a swamp. Oh, how original.
Well, I suppose that will be a fine place to raise the children.
In this scene, the Queen is trying to convey a message of acceptance and tenderness, when in fact the whole situation turns out to be uncomfortable, and being Harold's body language is contradicting that.
I told you, ogres don't live happily ever after! Harold!
In this part, even though the movie is aimed at dismantling traditional values in a fairy tale, Fiona and Shrek do finally have their happily ever after, following the disintegration of the evil personified in the fairy godmother.
Okay, to sum up, it can be said that there's two approaches, structuralism and post-structuralism, have been highly useful because they have enriched our analysis on Shrek in a deep and meaningful fashion.
So here is a list of references for you to enlarge of the structure of Shrek.
Thank you for watching. If you found this information useful, please like this video. If you want to comment something, please do it below. And if you want to see more videos on this topic, please subscribe. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.